Hi guys, welcome back. This will be my fourth and final video of stuff I picked up at the Friends of the Library sale. Everything I'm going to show here on vinyl was 10 cents from the last day of the sale, and everything, books, videos, vinyl, everything's 10 cents a piece. And I made sure I got there early for that last day because it's just a mad dash. Everybody brings in shopping carts and fills them full of stuff, and I wanted to pick through and grab some of the stuff I hadn't picked up before. Just kind of taking a gamble, hoping I could pick it up for 10 cents instead of full price or half price. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show the CDs I picked up at the sale. The last day of the sale, when things are 10 cents, they've already they've taken the CDs and packed them up. There's no more CDs on that last day. So they're CDs I bought for full price or half price, but it wasn't a big deal because everything was pretty much about 50 cents per CD, so good deal. So getting into the vinyl, again, everything was 10 cents this last day. So I picked up some kind of the more obscure stuff I wouldn't normally pay full price for. Here's a record, RCA Living stereo release called Impact, by the Buddy Morrow Orchestra under the direction of Buddy Morrow. I'd seen this record before in a thrift shop in rougher shape for like $1, and it looked interesting, but I just kind of listened to some clips online. It didn't really grab me, but you know, for 10 cents I'd take a shot. It's got like themes from Peter Gunn, Rawhide, Sea Hunt, M Squad, Perry Mason, so a lot of TV themes, and a nice living stereo pressing, so I'll give it a shot, see if it grows on me. And another one on RCA, this is another one for the Chet Atkins collection called Teen Scene. I've kind of been holding out for a stereo pressing of this album, but haven't really seen one. So for 10 cents I figure I'd pick it up. I think he's playing stuff aimed at the teen audience, I guess. I don't know. But I like the back here. Who invented Chet Atkins? I don't know what that's about, but 10 cents for the Chet collection. Some stereo stuff, or I mean some classical stuff I picked up. You know, years past, sales past, I'd always thought like I really need to learn about classical records so I can pick through what they got. And I have kind of learned a little bit about different labels and pressings, but the reality is by the time I get to the later days in the sale, and I've grabbed all the jazz and worked in my budget, picking up stuff I really want, I'm just kind of burned out. So I picked up a few, just some nice RCA Living stereo pressings and a Mercury Living Present stereo pressing. And really the classical selection, now that I know a little more about it, it wasn't that impressive as I thought it might be. I thought maybe I was missing out on a lot of great records, but it's actually pretty picked over. A whole bunch of classical box sets, which nobody seems to want. But so I picked up, let's see, I can't even pronounce this, Richter Brahms Concerto No. 2, conducted by Eric Leinsdorf. Yeah, Brahms Concerto No. 2 in B flat. This is nice. Like I said, these RCAs, I picked them up because they're living stereo pressings. This one, you know, one of the shaded dog pressings. And I don't really know anything about the music on here, but it's a really clean shaded dog living stereo pressing, so I'd give it a chance for 10 cents. And one I know I already have a copy of this, but I wanted to see if this one was a better pressing. This is Fritz Reiner conducting the Chicago Symphony Rossini Overtures. And I think this is a later pressing, yeah. So a later pressing, but super clean, no scuffs or anything. So I think I've got like a red dog of this I wanted to compare to, or a shaded dog, I mean. And then Rubinstein Beethoven Sonatas. This one's still in the shrink, and I can't remember what kind of pressing this one is. This is a shaded dog. I'll give you a better look at the shaded dog here. So you can see what I'm talking about. It's got a little nipper there, and there's some shading behind him. Later ones, I think, were just called gray dogs or something. You don't have that sort of brown shading behind the dog. It's just a white dog against a red background. And then they got into the stereo Dynagroove pressings. And then you had the red label with the white printing like that first one I showed. And then this one I grabbed because it's a Mercury Living Presence stereo pressing. Let's see, Wagner, Tristan on the Solde, some other stuff. Antal Dorati conducting the London Symphony Orchestra. I just wanted to, I think I've got a couple of these Mercury Living Presence stereo pressings. Wanted to give this one a shot. And for 10 cents, and it looks like it's never been played really. Yeah, I don't see any kind of marks on the vinyl or spindle marks or anything. So if it has been played, it was played very carefully. A very crisp inner sleeve. So another, I'm not really picking up much classical anymore. I've got like 2 full boxes of them. I just need to work my way through cleaning them up really good and enjoying them. And right now my cleaning system is kaput. And then something totally different. You know, I always look for rock stuff, hip-hop, electronic, but I think after the first day, because it's a college town, the college kids are all digging through a lot of that stuff. Anything that's worthwhile is just gone, and I missed the first day this time around. But there was some kind of like rave, IDM, EDM type music, 12-inch singles, a lot of guys I've never heard of. And then a few hip-hop things, including this one, which probably a lot of people have never heard of this guy. His name is Sensational, and this is a 12-inch on the Matador label called Beat Rhymes and Styles. And I've heard of him because he was briefly a member of Jungle Brothers. They started to record an album with producer Bill Laswell that was going to be called Crazy Wisdom Masters. And when they finished it up and submitted it to the label rejected it. It had a lot of really weird stuff, including the tracks featuring Sensational. He was going by the name Tortured at the time. And he's got like a really just kind of rough, stoned out of his mind, kind of mush-mouthed style to him. But so the label rejected, I think it was Warner Brothers. And they kept a few of the tracks and recorded some new tracks and released it. I can't remember the name of the actual releases it was released, but the Crazy Wisdom Masters, some of the tracks showed up on this label, Word Sound. They put out like a 10-inch record called on their Dime Bag series, called Crazy Wisdom Masters. And a couple of the other tracks showed up on some different compilations. But the actual album, as Bill Laswell had produced it, I don't think has ever been released officially. But yeah, this one put out by Matador, I guess in association with Word Sound, which was a Brooklyn-based kind of hip-hop, dub, experimental label. So yeah, something totally different there. Probably didn't expect that. And now moving into, of course, jazz. Picked up a whole bunch of jazz for 10 cents a piece. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. This one on the PA USA label, or Pausa. I can't remember now what that stands for. But they basically reissue stuff. It's a reissue label. This is June Christie's Big Band Specials, arranged and conducted by Bill Holman, Bob Cooper, and Shorty Rogers. So when I see the name Bob Cooper and Shorty Rogers, I'm like, well, it's worth picking up. She's a decent singer. Conte Candoli on trumpet, Dick Nash on trombones, Bob Cooper on sax, Bill Perkins on sax, Jimmy Rowles on piano, John Mondragon bass, Mel Lewis drums. So a lot of established jazz musicians on here, and I figured I'd give it a shot. I've got another record on this label, this PA USA or Pausa or whatever it is. You know, it's kind of skeptical, but it's a really nice pressing. They do a nice job. So this should be a good listen. And this is stuff. Okay, it doesn't say when this is recorded. I would guess late 50s. And then a 2 LP set on RCA Victor, Artie Shaw, in the Blue Room and in the Cafe Rouge. So you got blue and red here. And these are recordings of Artie Shaw's band. 24 broadcast performances by the big band at its peak. And so I think these are things from like the maybe late 30s, 40s. You know, without my glasses I can't read too much. There were a couple of musicians in here I recognized. I can't really pick them out at the moment. But yeah, I wanted to kind of, so one of the musicians, early jazz, big band guys I wanted to check out, and this will be a nice entry in. I know I've seen his In the Blue Room reissued on some different labels and configurations, so nice set to have. Some Errol Garner on MRC, Mercury label here. This is Garnering, and I think maybe this is him solo. Can't really pick it out real quick, but yeah, not really my favorite pianist, but if I can find Errol Garner stuff really cheap or in good shape, I'll pick it up. So there's a Mercury MRC label there. So really for 10 cents, I mean, you got nothing to lose picking this stuff up. If you don't like it, you just redonate it for the sale next time, and you'll see it the next time around. This one's kind of interesting, a little reissue here on, I guess, a label called Trip. Special Collector's Series. This is Sarah Vaughan's No Count Sarah. And I think what the deal was, it's her playing with Count Basie's band. See, that was the original album cover there that they sort of reproduced here from Mercury Records. So I think it's her playing with Count Basie's band, but instead on piano it's her piano player Ronell Bright playing, but the rest is Count Basie's band. So I don't know, weird little there's the Trip label. Kind of a weird reissue thing, but I'll give it a shot. Session at Midnight on Capitol, Jazz Reunion at Melrose. What the heck, for 10 cents? It's got Benny Carter, Harry Sweets Edison, Al Hendrickson on guitar, Jimmy Rowles on sax, Shorty Chirac, Willie Smith. I'll give it a shot for 10 cents. A couple Oregon records. I saw Diana Biernet from Germany, who has a great jazz collection. She was showing some Oregon records. I had a few of them at one point a few years ago, and I guess I got rid of them, but I decided to pick some up since they saw them and they were 10 cents a piece. This is Music of Another Present Era. That was maybe one of their first. Yeah, I've got some of the Codona albums with Don Cherry and Colin Walcott from this band. But for some reason I got rid of my Oregon albums. I don't know why. And this is a 2 LP set from later on, Oregon in Performance. Not bad, 10 cents for 2 records. And some ECM. This one's an upgrade copy. Ralph Towner and Gary Burton Matchbook, U.S. pressing. I've got another copy of this, but it's kind of water damaged. But I love Gary Burton. I love jazz vibes in general. And then 3 featuring Bob James. I think I mentioned in the comments to one of my previous videos in one of the other sales maybe a year ago or so. They had a whole bunch of Bob James records and stuff on CTI, and things from Bob James's sub-label called Tapan Z. There's the Tapan Z logo. I don't know if you can make it out, but there's I think it's like 2 birds, but named after the Tappan Zee Bridge in New York. Yeah, I think he was kind of the label head and stuff, but he's a keyboard player, and I'd seen this huge collection and just kind of didn't know a whole lot about Bob James other than CTI stuff and these other artists. So passed on them, and they were all in like nearly mint condition. I wished I'd bought them now, but I think maybe some of the stuff has made it back to the library sale. So I got Bob James's The Genie, which is of course themes and variations from the TV series Taxi. If you remember that TV show, he wrote the theme music to that. Yeah, there's actually a tune called Angelo. That's the theme they used for Taxi. And then Bob James, Hands Down. This one, I guess it's one LP, but it's a gatefold. Some cool musicians on here. Bob James, Sign of the Times. I wouldn't really call it smooth jazz, but it's kind of like a lighter funk fusion type thing. Definitely kind of, I don't know, more urban, smooth for the 80s, I guess. I've grown to enjoy it more than when the first time I heard it, for sure. And then kind of a weird reissue. I've seen this label before. Hall of Fame Jazz Greats. This is Kai Winding, Kai Winding and Sonny Stitt. The groups of those guys. Early Modern, featuring Jerry Mulligan on baritone sax, Don Elliott on mellophone, Horace Silver on piano, Charlie Mingus on bass, Joe Jones on drums, and others. I don't know anything about the quality of these pressings. I've seen some of these records around. Yeah, it's kind of a generic label there, but I'll give it a shot for 10 cents. Here's a label I've heard of before. I didn't have anything on this label on Famous Door, but this is Phil Wilson with Al Cohn and John Bunch. It's called Wilson, That's All. Yeah, so you got Phil Wilson on trombone, Al Cohn on tenor sax, John Bunch on piano, Milt Hinton on bass, and Mousy Alexander on drums. I think I've seen some jazz guitar stuff online from the Famous Door label, and so I figured I'd pick that up for 10 cents, give it a shot. I guess a compilation here in Columbia. This one called The Three Herds. It's Woody Herman and his orchestra. I think it's 3 different variations of his Woody Herman and the Herd, like the New Herd and things like that. A lot of great musicians came and went from his band. Shorty Rogers, Neil Hefti, Pete Candoli, Irby Green, Kai Winding, Billy Bauer, guitarist, Zoot Sims, Bill Perkins, yeah. There's another one from Terrence Small, the local music professor's collection. It's got marked on the back, property of Terrence Small. So yeah, I figured I'd check that out. Check out some Woody Herman and get used to his music. Some George Shearing, this one with Dakota Staten. In the Mood, or In the Night, I'm sorry, on Capitol. Pick that for 10 cents. Souter Finnegan Orchestra, Under Analysis. Kind of a jazz orchestra, I guess. Sort of out there sound. Been wanting to check these guys out. Creative, sort of classical meets jazz, I think, sort of. I've got a copy of this already, but for 10 cents I'll pick up another. It's J&K plus 6. The J&K trombone octet. I guess it's K Winding. I don't know. But, you know, it's funny they say K, K-A-Y, but it's actually spelled K-A-I, his name. Which they kind of get right on the back there. CTI, another CTI for the collection for 10 cents. I'm not going to pass it up. Hubert Laws, the San Francisco concert with Eric Gale, or no, Bob James, Harvey Mason, Gary King, and Glenn Deardorff, and with members of the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra. Yeah, nice CTI for 10 cents. One I didn't have. Jumpin' at the Woodside, a Buck Clayton jam session. Columbia. Yeah, got some more good musicians on this. Ruby Braff, Joe Newman, Irby Green, Benny Green, Woody Herman, Coleman Hawkins, Al Cohn, Freddie Green on guitar, Milt Hinton on bass. Joe Jones. Nice Columbia 6i on this. So that's cool. I think this is probably, I'm guessing, from the late 50s. Can't really see. Quiet Village, Martin Denny, Exotica Classic. I've been wanting to get this in stereo, but for 10 cents I'll pick it up in mono, and it'll hold me over till I get a nice stereo pressing. And this one I would have bought just for the cover. Prez Prado. This one just called Prez on RCA Victor, the I'm guessing Cuban percussionist Perez Prado and his orchestra. Yeah, really cool. And this one was neat find on Columbia. Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross. I showed before I had a King Pleasure 7-inch, and he's one of the early guys to do the vocalese style, where he took kind of a jazz tune and add vocals to it. These guys are all, especially Annie Ross, the singer, were all, that's kind of their thing. And she was an interesting woman, Annie Ross. She had a baby with Kenny Clark, the drummer, and he ended up raising a child. She went back to, I think, England, and she had I think a heroin addiction at one point and kicked it, and became an actress and has been in some different movies and TV shows. It's a really weird career, but she was most famous for doing a version of Wardell Gray's Twisted that she wrote her own lyrics to. So yeah, kind of vocal jazz. Pretty happy to pick this up and check it out. This is a Bluebird collection here, Trio and Quartet Sessions, Benny Goodman Volume 1 on Bluebird, which is I guess an RCA subsidiary that does reissues of older jazz stuff from, I guess, the 30s to probably early 50s. And so I can't really read who's in the bands here, but pretty sure Gene Krupa, Lionel Hampton, Teddy Wilson in these early bands. Getting to the end here, kind of exotic stuff. Dick Shorey with his Percussion Pops Orchestra. I already had a copy of this. I just picked up recently, but this one's still on the shrink in just beautiful shape. I think it's Joe Morello from Dave Brubeck's band plays drums, guest doing drums in this. Nice Dynagroove stereo pressing on here. Kay Winding, Suspense Themes in Jazz. That's just a cool name for a record there. Yeah, arranged by Oliver Nelson. Some of the tracks engineered by Rudy Van Gelder. Produced by Creed Taylor on Verve. So it should be a good one. And then a Pablo, my Soul Pablo, I found at this sale here. Art Tatum, the Tatum Solo Masterpieces Volume 3. This one's a little bit rough, cut out, and some damage on the back here, but definitely cool to add another piece to the Pablo collection. And then, so that was it for records, and let me just try to go through the CDs real quick before I run out of time. My video camera here seems to crap out right at about 25 to 30 minutes. And then I have to unload everything and clear up some room. So Nat King Cole, the Nat King Cole Trio, a collection on from Savoy Jazz. So these are some older jazz stuff. Jazz recordings of the Nat King Cole Trio from 1938 until 1939, so really early stuff when he was more of a jazz guy than a pop artist. Yeah, the New York Composers Orchestra. I can't even remember the name of the label on this one, but some kind of New York avant-garde avant-garde music, kind of jazz meets classical sort of thing. So you got Marty Ehrlich, Robin Holcomb, and Wayne Horvitz. Robin Holcomb, I think, was Wayne Horvitz's wife. But both keyboard players, if I'm not mistaken, and Doug Weiselman involved there. On the Enya label, Abdullah Ibrahim, or Dollar Brand if you wish, called Desert Flowers. Some nice kind of solo piano stuff, a little bit of synthesizer in there. Count Basie and Sarah Vaughan from Roulette. I don't know if there's a compilation or this is a reissue. I think it's a reissue of an album here. Nice stuff. A couple cheapies here, 50 cents for the Beatles collection. Filling out the Beatles collection on CD. Rubber Soul and Abbey Road. Speaking of New York avant-garde, this is kind of the New York avant-garde scene meets rock and roll. This is Anton Fier's Golden Palominos, the Visions of Excess. So you got like Michael Stipe from R.E.M., John Lydon, Johnny Rotten on one track. Yeah, a lot of Bernie Worrell on keyboards, a lot of great musicians on this. Henry Cow. Henry Cow meets Slap Happy here in Praise of Learning. I was really excited to find this one. You know, you don't see these CDs around much. This is the East End Digital reissue, remaster, I guess. I think there were some issues with some of these East End remasters, but 50 cents, I won't complain. A Theremin CD, Art of the Theremin by Clara Rockmore. I guess one of the early practitioners using the theremin. I think these are recordings from the maybe the 30s or 40s. I could be wrong. But I know the Moogs were involved in recording and producing this. And then finally, one more Living Stereo reissued on CD. Arthur Fiedler, Hi-Fi Fiedler. So I figured I'd give that a shot for 50 cents there. So that's it. That's my my 10-cent pickups and my CDs on the Friends of the Library sale. My recording space is about to run out, and I'm glad I wrapped it up. Thank you for watching, everybody. It was a lot of fun, this sale, and definitely look forward to the next one. And I'll be back with some cool thrift shop stuff I picked up recently. Had some good finds, but those will be coming up in a few days. Thanks again for watching. Talk to you all soon.